Hey everybody, welcome to Rise and Grind. Coffee Traveler here with 4 more articles. Let's get jumped into the first one. Argentina, can the US dollar save the economy? If you didn't know, Argentina has a new president, the first libertarian president in the world of a country. The article leads off with President-elect Javier Milei, M-I-L-E-I, a self-described anarcho-capitalist, has radical ideas to prop up the ailing economy, including the introduction of the US dollar. Now, if you didn't know, I lived in Argentina for 3 years, so one of the things I know about Argentina is that they've had rough times a lot. One of the roughest times they had was when they pegged their dollar to the US dollar, which they have a peso or something. I forget what they have. Just like Argentina's local currency, basically, I believe is called the peso. And they tried to peg it 1-to-1 to the dollar, and this was good in good economic times. But as you have slipping economic times and you tie your dollar to this, you'll have hyper runaway inflation, and it's like not good. Nobody will want to do business in your country. So economic policies are rough, and the people who institute them probably don't know enough about them. So let's see what this has to say. Argentina's new right-wing populist president-elect Javier has never hidden his true intentions. On the election campaign trail, he brandished an oversized $100 bill with a montage of himself on it. Kind of weird. On camera, the 53-year-old chopped up a cardboard image of a central bank. His message was clear: Argentina needs the US dollar, and its own currency, the peso, must go, as must the central bank. The assumption among observers is that Javier will struggle to follow up. God, the page reloaded. Are we serious right now? Struggle to follow up his stream views with action for the time being, at least because he and his party, Freedom Advances, wow, that's a very cringe title, lack a parliamentary majority. So he gets put into office without a parliamentary majority. That's like very interesting. Inflation in South America's second largest economy is rampant at more than 140%. Droughts have severely affected harvests, while meat, fish, soy remain the country's most important exports. Like what they mean, like, yeah. So all of their exports are ailing because they also export like tons of produce on top of just like soy. And also a ton of meat too from Patagonia. Patagonia can be kind of viewed as like Nebraska or Iowa, like kind of in that range. But if you overlay like Argentina over the United States or Europe, it's pretty big. It's a huge country. It doesn't get the credit for how large the country is. Go look these up if you want to see how large the country is. Anyways, as a result, the poor are getting even poorer, and the economy is expected to shrink further this year while public discontent is growing. Yeah. So these are like the outcomes of climate change and the outcomes of global warming, or whatever you want to call it, due to having like more severe droughts, and the extremes will get more extreme in locations. So it will be harder to have growing seasons and things of that nature. Not great. If Javier has his way, swapping out the peso for the US dollar will put Argentina back on track as it did other countries in the region, such as Ecuador or El Salvador. Okay, so he's taking policies from other countries. Interesting. The two countries have accepted the dollar as a valid means of payment since 2000 and 2001, respectively. In Panama, the dollar has been the main means of payment since 1904. Well, Panama was tied with the United States because we had the Panama Canal for 99 years. So, not a big surprise. Using the U.S. currency as legal tender means that a fixed exchange rate determines the rate at which the existing currency is converted into dollars. The country's own currency remains in circulation, but is no longer printed and gradually phased out, as I believe coins have like a 50-year lifespan, and paper money has a like 15, maybe even just 10. Paper money gets destroyed so fast, so it just gradually phases out. The introduction of the US dollar in Ecuador and El Salvador brought down the inflation rates and stabilized their economy. On the flip side, however, both countries have had to take out on more debt, pushing national debt even further. So there are upsides and downsides to both of these. Super interesting. Let's see like where this takes Argentina. There's some more to this article, but let's move on to the next one. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please put them in the YouTube section below, or put them in Twitch chat, and we can talk about it. Next article. Half of COVID survivors still had symptoms at 3 years. More reinfections amid Omicron. Came out on November 22nd, 2023 from the University of Minnesota. So I love articles from universities in this way. They all will have their own bias, of course, but usually pretty trustworthy, because we always like to talk about where we are getting our information from. This is like one of the terrifying things for me for COVID. I have like respiratory problems myself. I don't believe I have ever gotten COVID, but if I do, it's going to be real bad. And there also is no protection once you have gotten it once. So I wanted to read about this and find out more, because learning more about the potential future outcomes and how we have melted society with COVID, and the fact that people can get COVID over and over and over and over again, it just melts your organs, your brain, your everything. It's not good. It's not like, oh, I have some like for example, when you get chickenpox, you have some like superficial scarring on your skin, which may not be great, and you may not feel great about that, but it doesn't actually damage your like internal organs unless you get a super high fever or some other things happening, some other like symptoms. So I wanted to read this and take a look. 2 years after COVID-19 infection, 54% of adults in a Chinese cohort still had at least one symptom. Wow, that's really high. Most of them mild to moderate in severity, with higher rates of reinfection and pneumonia after the emergence of the Omicron variant, show a study. So I have a link to a study here published yesterday in the Lancet Respiratory Medicine. That seems like a good journal. Have to know more. We have to look that up, but not like knowing where all of your information comes from is very important. Can't know everything, but something to look into. Researchers from Japan and China Friendship Hospital in Beijing led a study of over 1,300 COVID patients released from a hospital in Wuhan from January to May 2020. Okay, so they grabbed at like the epicenter a whole bunch of people and like followed up with them. The patients completed 3 follow-up visits at 6 months, 1 year, and 2 years after illness onset. The study period spanned the predominance of wild-type SARS-CoV-2 and the emergence of all variants up to Omicron. Interesting. At 1 year, COVID naive controls from 2 communities in Wuhan were recruited. At 2 years, the controls were matched in a 1-to-1 ratio with the COVID patients who underwent lung function tests. At 3 years, all eligible COVID-19 survivors and control matched at 2 years followed up completed several face-to-face questionnaires, a 6-minute walking test, and lab tests from February to April 2023. Seems like a very good study. It also has over 1,000 people in it, which is a good cohort. One of the things it says here next is organ function recovered over time. Of the 1,300 COVID-19 survivors, 728 reported 1 or more mostly mild or moderate lingering symptoms at 3 years. After Omicron emerged in 2021, relative to participants without long COVID, those with long COVID at 2 years had significantly higher rates of reinfection and pneumonia. Ugh. 3 months after Omicron infection, 126 of 204 COVID-19 survivors with long COVID at 2 years had new onset or worsened symptoms, a significantly higher portion of the group without long COVID and controls. Ugh. Well, this is terrifying. You have maimed yourself from life if you get COVID. The percent likelihood that you maim yourself for life in COVID, if you tell me there's a 50% chance to get something, oh my God, that happens all the time. So COVID may not kill you, but you're maimed for life. And this is something that I don't think is talked about enough. For example, I was sick last week. That is time we'll never get back. That is a portion of my life in reduced functionality. You just never get that back. So being sick, even without COVID, sucks. So this article goes on to talk about long COVID definition and other things. So we will be seeing more of this come out over our lifetimes. with that said, let's move on to the next article. Please put any comments you would like to in the comments below. And also this will be linked in the description. So Tennessee Senate map ruled unconstitutional. Sweet. According to a court ruling, the legislation has ended. Oops. I haven't talked to him in months, but I know a friend who had taste issues 6 months after he had COVID. Yeah. They tend to go away or they're there forever. And the taste issues and the taste issues go for COVID for the previous article. This is from Morecambe and Chat. The taste issues can go from I don't taste anything to I only taste acrid like gasoline or chemically like awful and smell. It's not just like a little bit. We're not talking about COVID because Biden came out and said we have to learn to live with COVID, which means we basically say, oh, it never happened. We didn't mandate like HVAC or like HVAC replacements in terms of ultraviolet lights in all HVAC and modernization of all HVAC. We didn't leave masks on for public transit, and we didn't leave masks on for hospitals. Like, how is this a thing? And they like, oh my God, I can't. I don't understand. Anyways, next article. Tennessee state map ruled unconstitutional. According to court ruling, the legislature has until the end of January to make a new map. Good. Gerrymandering in the United States and probably around the world causes unfair elections to happen, and basically this means that Republicans can still get elected due to like gerrymandering and still have a majority due to slicing up a map in a way that you put all Democrats in one district and then all the Republicans can win all the other districts, rather than slicing them up as in a I don't know, fair way, let's say. I don't know what fair is, but seems pretty unfair to take a literal like laser to it and just like, we're going to cut this person out here and cut this person out here because due to census and other things, they could know which way everybody voted and slice it all up. Anyways, a court in the 20th Judicial District of Davidson County has ruled that the Tennessee House redistricting map was constitutional and that the Senate rezoning map was not. Yeah, they make those spidery, wormy districts and they put all the big cities in this like spidery worm here, and it's like, I don't think that's fair. Like, what if we just chunk it up in like blocks or whatever, right? I don't know what the right amount is here, but it seems fucked, where they put all like major cities into like one district. So one was constitutional and one was not. So the House redistricting map was constitutional and that the Senate was not. So there's a House and Senate inside of Tennessee, like most states in the United States. Court ruled that the legislature has until the end of January. The decision came after two shared their opinion. Lieutenant Governor McNeil said leadership is reviewing the decision and is evaluating the next steps. Based on a thorough and compelling dissent from the judge, I personally believe an appeal is a very viable option. Tennessee Democrat leader said the following in the reaction to the ruling. Today's court ruling against the gerrymandered state Senate map is a clear win for the Tennessee Constitution. Even when a political party has a supermajority in the legislature, its members must still follow the law. In the days ahead, Senate Democrats will once again be advocating for a fair map and transparent process that keeps communities whole and reflects who we are as a state. This is a very clear reflection of both sides are not the same. Any dumb fuck that comes forward and tells you both sides are the same, they're wrong. They're wrong. Like, are all like politicians like worms and like awful? Yes, but both sides are not the same. Until we get all Democrats in, we can't get people further left. So like, I have to vote Democrat. Like, don't you hate the Democrats? Yes, I do. But like, I also hate the Republicans more, and I'm for harm reduction. Any Republican that is ever in office is a harm and blight on society. Like, ugh. Miss Willowitch. Yeah, they make these spidery, wormy looking districts that no one would ever draw. Yeah, exactly. It's nonsensical. Like, name that shape. It's like, oh, it's this district in this like thing. There's more about the redistricting map. They have a PDF on here. I don't believe I'll read the whole thing, but I'm so glad to hear some of this is coming forward, and we are going to be able to have more fair maps, at least in Tennessee. Like, sure, it's a small local thing, but like, whew. Miss Willich, have a great one. You're beautiful. Thanks for being here. Last one. Speaking of both sides not being the same. This is from, God, I don't know this news source, but it looked like an interesting title and I got clickbaited into it. The red state brain drain isn't coming, it's happening now. A conservative states wage total culture war. College educated workers, such as physicians, teachers, professors, and more are packing their bags. Yeah, when you wage war on the smartest around, guess what? Those people are paid the most, so therefore they can leave. They just can leave. There are two places that I know of in the United States, Mississippi and Idaho, that you better not get pregnant in those states because you have to drive over 90 miles on average to get to a birthing center. Yeah, no. And this is post the Roe v. Wade changes from the shitty Supreme Court that we have right now. Anyways, what's this say? Let me take a sip of coffee here. Take a minute. Oh, that's good. Put a little bit of whipped cream on top. I had some leftover whipped cream in the can, and you just straight into the coffee. So decadent. And then I'll come January. Why am I so fat now? Oh wait, I just consumed calories on calories on calories. Past me. God damn it, past me enjoying himself, and I have to foot the bill for that now. Anyways, let's get back to the brain drain here, because holy shit, I have a bunch of opinions and thoughts on this, but let's see what's happening in the latest. On Memorial Day weekend in 2022, Kate Arnold and her wife, Caroline, flew from Oklahoma to Cabo San Lucas for some R&R. They have 5 kids, the youngest of them, 5-year-old twin girls. They have 5 kids. Oh my God. Demanding jobs such as obstetrician and gynecologist. The stresses of all this were mounting. That they were a gay married couple living in a red socially conservative state was the least of it. Yeah. Why are you there? Caroline was born in Tulsa, spent most of her childhood educated at the University of Oklahoma. She cast her first presidential vote for George W. Bush. Of course she did. Kate was more political of the two, was the North Carolina and lifelong Democrat, but her mother was born in Oklahoma and she felt home there. She'd even given some thought to running for the state legislature. Kate and Caroline flew with twins and their 16-year-old daughter. It says a lot about Kate, but she adopted 3 older children. Hey, hell yeah. Good work. Arriving in Cabo, Kate and Caroline realized that they had been a very long time, too long, since their last date. We sat outside with the little colored flags, and they gave us blankets because it was cold and windy. We hadn't been sitting for very too long, but I started to say I wasn't happy. Yeah, no shit. A little more than a week earlier, a disturbed high school student entered an elementary school. Uvalde, yeah, exactly. Okay, so Uvalde happened recently in this. And this writing is awful. Can we get to the point? Holy shit. States with gun laws, That was one of the reasons why Kate wasn't happy, sure. Another reason was the state legislature was trying to limit access to contraception. Yeah, so first it's limiting abortion, next it's limiting contraception. And we'll see where it goes from there. And how does your 9-year-old need birth control? And if she needs birth control, what's worse than her coming home pregnant? What is this article? This article is really bad. I need to put down this news source. Is never go to this news source. We're just meandering around this. I would not recommend wow, this is just wreck and not getting to the point. I'm not here to read a book, but I'm gonna write down this New Republic in my notes. It's don't do it, but it has spiked some good conversation in my brain of red states brain drain. Yeah, red states are absolutely going to be brain drained and hopefully put into an even further hole. It's a wild to me that their biggest thing is trans people bad. Whoa. Which what that means is they're basically saying the other is bad, and they can't say it about people's race anymore, so they say it about people's sex or sex preferences or sex sexual their expression, their gender expression, right? It's just awful. So nobody can tell me ever again that both sides are the same. It's just not true. And if we don't get people out there to vote all Democrat and push literally all Republicans out of office in the first place so that we can get people further left and people with better policies than Democrats in, it's just awful. So get out there and vote would be what I say. If you don't vote and say things like, oh, my vote doesn't matter, well, yeah, you must be in a minority, you must be in a majority, or a white upper class male, that all these policies don't affect you. And that's not true. They do affect you, right? If you don't vote and get the best out for society, and like also they will be, and if you have kids, it's even worse. Like you need to vote for your kids' best interest, because if you have a daughter, like what world are they going to grow up into? Anyways, I could rant more, but I'm running low on coffee here, and we've run out of articles. So with that said, go ahead and press the subscribe button if you're on YouTube, press the follow button if you're on Twitch, and we will see you next time. Click the button. Oh God, there we go. Next time.